Hello, my name is Hugo Rydell, and I'm a psychology student coming from the University of Manchester. Currently, I'm looking for a position as a psychologist assistant, and so I'd like to give you a few examples and a few experiences which I believe would support me in applying for such a role. So, over the course of this video, I would like to share some of the professional experiences I've had, including being a SENS certified teacher, befriender for elderly clients, and a student representative and researcher at the University of Manchester. Additionally, I have a few published examples which I'd love to show you in due course, both for my hobbies and for my work, including my work as a interviewer for psychologists and neuroscientists at my university, as a content creator and researcher on over 30 neuroscience and psychology based videos, and my work in researching and then developing through coding skills which I have, an evidence based clinical tool. Finally, I'd like to share some of the extra projects I've worked on, uh, which include my experiences as a public speaker at mental health events, and finally, my work as an AI development lead on a neural network project, which I'm currently taking part in. That's a lot of content to get to, so I'll be very quick. Let's get started. Okay, so let's begin with my professional experience. Over the last 3 months, I've been working as a Sun certified teacher. Essentially, this means that I'm capable and have worked with children ages 7 to 17, usually in classes of 4 to 5, uh, and have created lessons, workshops, and other activities in order to support them, to support students, and to teach them new concepts. As I was sense certified, this essentially meant I was capable of dealing with different special educational needs which my students may have had. This includes ADHD, autism, etc. Over those 3 months, which I've had in that work, I've had the chance to often use the skills which I've acquired as a psychology student and hopefully one day a clinical psychologist, and offer students who are struggling emotional support. Now, my second position was as a befriender. This is something that I've done for about 7 months, and mainly I was working with elderly clients who were experiencing increased social isolation. Essentially, I was there to provide them with a little bit of an empathetic voice and often to listen to the stories and experiences which they were having. I think that was a great experience uh, to understand and empathize with other people's feelings because, as was often the case, I was the one listening, they were the ones talking. And so the role of listener and every now and again being a bit of a Socratic questioner was something that I've learned over the course of that experience. Then, secondly, I was also a student representative and researcher. This is something that I've been doing for the last year or so, and it primarily consisted of creating surveys, interviews, um, producing small studies, which had focus groups and qualitative and quantitative data, and then to process all that information in order to understand student well-being concerns. As a student representative, my goal was to ensure that every student was feeling supported, that every student was feeling on top of their academics as well. And so, um, my interviews and my focus groups and surveys reflected that. And in the process of this role, I analyzed about uh, 300 students worth information, 300 data points from students. I think that's a better way to describe it. And this gave us really, really great information to then create plans, to create suggestions for the staff and the course creators to improve the program in general. Now, getting to my hobbies and interests, I've also worked as an interviewer, and that's been a really fantastic experience which I can give you a few examples of. So, generally, to give you a bit of an introduction to it, I regularly prepared and conducted interviews with prominent neuroscientists, psychologists, and faculty at my university, the University of Manchester. These episodes featured discussions like dementia, diversity in research, developments in neuroscience, etc. And that's all been published under the Psychophiles podcast on YouTube. Additionally, something that I've been doing over the last 3 years and continue doing to this day is being a researcher and content creator on YouTube, which I think fits this role quite well. I wrote, recorded, and published over 30 videos to date, each of which has a different subject theme, and it ranges from topics like uh, neural networks, stress, regret, and many, many others. This is something that I've really enjoyed, and I think it really honed in my skill set as a uh, researcher, and I believe as a clinician as well, because you have to articulate yourself. You have to be able to explain the concept that you've been exploring, and hopefully in that way you can help others as well. So I think that this process of teaching was also instrumental in making me a better psychologist myself. Now, when it comes to extra projects and some achievements that I've had the chance to have over the last few years, I researched and developed an evidence based clinical tool. This I called Polymastra, and I've published it online for anybody to use who wants. This has been something that I first researched using a psychology self regulation handbook. And over the course of reading it, I then developed an application upon its base. Um, the intention of it was to create a simple behavior change dashboard, which clients could then use to, um, well, to change their behavior. And so that's what I've been using it for. And I hope that in the future, I'll be able to also implement it in my clinical practice if given the chance. Finally, I was public speaker recently at a Green Week mental health event. And I believe that's been a really, really fantastic experience. Something that I've um, used as the opportunity to share a little bit about myself, a little bit about my philosophy as a psychology student, and what I believe is a very important subject, which is the influence which nature and our environment has on our mental health. And I think that this kind of passion which I have um, for this subject is very well expressed both through that speech and in general the desire to do things like that. Finally, and I forgot this one thing, I'm currently an AI development lead for a neural network project, which I'm collaborating on with the Robotic Society. Um, Essentially, my role is to create an AI drone which can be controlled through hand gestures. So, for example, you do this, and the drone goes right or left in my case, and vice versa. You go up, you go down. So this has been a really fascinating project, which has honed more of the STEM side of my skill set and something that I've definitely learned quite a bit from because it has honed in the skills of researching, certainly of collaboration with others. So altogether, I believe these skills really exemplify the kind of skill set which I come in with in wanting to be a psychological assistant. I hope that you found this fun. I certainly did. Thank you very much. Bye bye.